All right, so I just got back from watching Black Phone 2, the sequel to 2022's, I believe, The Black Phone, from director Scott Derrickson, who directed the first Doctor Strange, which I think is being more appreciated these days, but is still one of the most underrated MCU movies, in my opinion. Black Phone. I didn't watch it when it came out, but I watched it in preparation for this, and I really enjoyed it. I think it's a very good, sort of a horror thriller. It had some Stranger Things vibes in its tone, and even my brother, who hates horror movies, admitted that he did appreciate the ending. So I was looking forward to see what Scott Derrickson could cook up with the sequel to this movie, where somehow the Grabber returns. The Grabber being the serial killer from the first movie who died in that first movie, but somehow he's back in the sequel and he's out for revenge. So, and I must say, I had high expectations and they were met in a way, and I'll explain what I mean. So I really, really liked this movie, but it does have some issues and some things about it where I don't think it will be universally as appreciated or loved as I think it should be. And a couple things for that. One, it's not it's again, it's more of a horror thriller. There's definitely horror elements. There's a couple jump scares, there's some gory stuff here and there, but it's not really super duper scary. Again, it's about the entire movie is about as intense as probably the most intense stuff in Stranger Things. So if you can handle Stranger Things, you can handle this movie just fine. It's just, the most intense stuff in Stranger Things throughout the whole movie, basically. And I do think some horror fans might consider that a little tame for their tastes, not quite the sort of stuff they're looking for. They want more scares, they want more jump scares, or not necessarily jump scares, but like more gore. People love gore, that sort of stuff, but there's not a whole lot of that here. I will also say that the movie surprisingly does drag a little bit in the middle, where even I, who enjoyed the movie quite a bit, was like, all right, let's pick up the pace a little bit. What are we doing here? Let's move on the plot. And there are some underutilized characters in this movie that I think should have been given more of the spotlight, or should have been given more of a clear character arc. I think that would have been a lot more satisfying if certain characters were focused on a bit more, because there's a lot of potential I see there. But all that aside, this movie is totally my vibe. It's like scary, but not too scary. And I think the horror movies that I love the most are either like tongue-in-cheek, kind of goofy, like Scream or Abigail, which I enjoyed quite a bit a couple years ago, or was it last year? Yeah, it's that sort of stuff, or like Nosferatu, the mythological horror sort of stuff, the vampire, werewolves, that sort of things. But the cream of the crop, in my opinion, is horror movies that tackle fear as something to be overcome, right? That you can battle your fears, your insecurities, your demons, whatever it is, and this is something that you must overcome. And when you do this, you achieve victory over what it is that you are afraid of. Not all horror movies are like this. There are some, but not all. And Black Phone and now Black Phone 2 are just like that, which I really appreciate as somebody who, is scared quite a bit in life. It's really nice to see a movie that takes you through the darkness but promises that there is light at the end of the tunnel. And that's exactly what this movie does. There's truly heartwarming stuff in this movie that I really appreciated, especially near the end, where I'm just sitting back like, I can't believe I'm sitting here in the theater watching this movie and thinking to myself, this is beautiful. This is so touching, you know, that sort of stuff. I don't want to spoil it in case you decide to watch it. But yeah, that's why I really liked this movie. It does have its problems, and I don't think everybody, especially horror fans, will love it as much as me, but it kind of hit home for me personally. It's like this movie is one for me. That sort of thing. Yeah, so I think, kind of like I said, if you're a big time horror fan and you want a certain thing from your horror movies that is a little bit more intense, this might not be for you. But if you are a lot like me and you like a certain sort of theme to be in these sort of movies, I think you might dig it quite a bit. And it's definitely worth seeing in theaters. It's very cinematic. Yeah, so those are my thoughts on Black Phone 2.